All right. Good morning, everybody. It's about 5 o'clock, 5 a.m. And it's departure day. I'm out of here in about 4 hours. Heading north. And I will return hopefully on around October 14th. October 13th or 14th is my plan. So, as promised, I wanted to keep the information highway open and make sure you guys had a couple of videos to watch while I was gone. And all I could muster up was come out into the shop, have a coffee, and hammer off a couple more emails for you. So that's what I'm doing. If you're watching this, it should be October 4th. I pre-recorded this to come out on October 4th, Friday. So happy Friday. Hope everybody had a good week. 5 a.m. Friday. I'm probably just getting to my hunting spot from my main camp, parking, and then I normally this time of the morning I'm maybe just finishing my coffee and then waiting for daylight, and then about about an hour before daylight I hike up the mountain. So that's what I'm doing right now. Getting ready to see some moose or caribou or sheep or whatever. So anyways, I had a couple comments and emails from people asking me about my camera gear, what kind of camera gear I use. And I think I've touched on it a little bit in videos prior, but I thought what I'd do is do a little bit of an actual review of the gear that I use, because it's come up quite often. And so I basically have 3 cameras now. And I have my old Sony Handycam that I used to use in the very first videos you watched with me. It's a pretty good camera. You can zoom in a long ways, but it's a little bit bulky and it's just it's not great for what I do, but it worked okay. So I did a lot of research into cameras and read a lot of reviews for the type of work that I'm going to be doing, like filming that I'm going to be doing. Adventure filming out in the woods, hiking, hunting, fishing, boating, all that kind of stuff. And one of the best cameras that I could find for my purpose was this DJI Osmo Pocket 3. DJI Osmo Pocket 3. And that's it. Okay? That's just a little protective case that it comes in to protect the gimbal. But that is the camera that I use. Look how tiny that thing is. Right? It is tiny. But this has a full stabilizing gimbal. So as you see when I turn this on, right? And you turn it on just simply by flipping the screen. So it's got a little viewfinder screen here, which is fine. I'll explain that. But watch that actual camera head when you turn it, whatever directions you turn it. That thing stays absolutely perfect, right? So it's great for hiking or biking or whatever if there's movement. And as I say, it's got a little screen on it and it's activated and turned on and off. There's multiple ways to do it, right? And it connects Bluetooth to your phone. So this thing connects Bluetooth to your phone, and then you can use your phone as a screen if you can't see that little tiny screen, which is tough. But and then one of the beauties with this camera, as you're hiking, obviously it's moving, it stays fairly still. Okay, it's 4K capability, 4K 60 frames per second. It's really good video, as you guys have seen. And but one of the key features with this is on this screen here or on your phone, you can draw a little box around your head or your body or whatever and set this thing up, and this thing will that remote gimbal will actually just follow you all over the place. And you've probably seen that in some of my videos. I think people have gone like, who's with you? And I'm like, nobody, that's just the camera. So that's the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. And the kit that I bought comes with a spare battery, like a secondary battery that clips into place. Okay, makes it a little bit easier to handle. So it comes with that, and then on the bottom of that is a tripod to set up. So great camera. That is a great camera. When you close it up, it just closes. You put the protective cover on, and you carry it with you. That's it. So I've got that camera. I bought a couple of cameras, and that's the main one that I use when I'm out hiking. The disadvantage with that one is it's not waterproof. So if it's raining or snowing or whatever, I can't use that camera. So for that, I bought the camera that I'm on right now, which is the DJI Action 4. And the Action 4 is a great camera because it's waterproof. Okay, you don't need a protective case or nothing for it. It's waterproof right away for up to, I believe, 16 or 18 meters, which is pretty cool. And it's got a super wide field of view, as you can see. I'm right now, I'm basically probably 14 inches from the camera, and the field of view is incredible. So for those types of shots, and for shots in the environment when it's wet and whatnot, this is a great camera to use. And this, the Pocket 3 came in a kit, and it comes with a Bluetooth DJI microphone that you can clip onto you, and that microphone's compatible with that and the DJI Action 4, and as well with my drones. So that's why I went DJI, and it's really good stuff. I read the reviews and did my research, and it's good stuff. It's not cheap. It's not cheap. But no good camera gear is cheap. You know what? Nothing in life is cheap anymore. There's no such thing as cheap. But anyways, every penny that I receive from you good people, whether it be, I had people just ask me for my PayPal, and so I sent some mugs out. I sent mugs out, and people would pay for the mug what I told them that the mug cost with shipping, and I don't make a dime on the mug. So and they sent extra money. They did that. I had that happen quite a few times. They just sent an extra $20 or whatever, and then the super thanks in the comments, people give super thanks, which I didn't know right away what that meant, but people do that. So every penny I got from all you awesome people went right towards this camera gear and buying the camera gear so that I can make better videos and just make a better product for you guys. So I thank you all for your generosity. The money went to making better videos for all of you people. The thing that kind of pissed me off a little bit is I reached out to DJI after I bought my drone. I reached out to DJI and I told them about my YouTube channel and how it was growing and that I had bought the drone and that I was looking to buy the Pocket 3 and maybe some other gear as well. And I'm like, I said, is there any chance for any kind of sponsorship or collaboration? And maybe I could, just get a little bit of money off, a discount, essentially a discount on the gear. And so I emailed them marketing, and nothing. I never heard a word back. And anyways, whatever. I'm a small fish in a big pond, so I was just like, whatever. Well, then I bought the Pocket 3. So when I bought that, I emailed them again. And I said, look, now I just bought this and I'm looking to buy more and whatever. And is there any possible sponsorship? Nothing. And then I bought the Action 4. Nothing. So anyways, I was kind of disappointed in DJI for that. They make a great product. And I'm sure they sponsor hundreds and hundreds of people. But for me, it was a little disappointing. Whatever. It is what it is. Anyways, I got the gear. That's what I use. It's awesome stuff. As you've seen on the videos, really good quality. The Pocket 3 and the Action 4 and the drone are all 4K video, 60 frame per second video, so it's pretty good video. And it's nice that you're sticking with one device, so it's all compatible with microphones and software and all that kind of stuff. So anyways, there you go. There's my camera gear. One other quick thing before I get into these emails. One other quick thing is a lot of comments and a few emails too from younger people. That just love the outdoors and seeing the outdoors, and they're like, they just got into it or going to get into it, and I just think that is so cool. And well, I got many nephews, but one of my nephews here on the island, Spencer, he just got into the outdoors. I don't know, maybe a couple of years ago, maybe got into hunting, and he wasn't raised around hunting. He wasn't brought up hunting in his family or anything. So this is my wife's side of the family, obviously. They're a farming family, and Spencer's and he's not a young guy. I mean, he's young compared to me. He's in his 30s, I think. Owns his own business, very successful mechanic. And anyways, he got into the outdoors, and him and his lovely wife Vicky and their kids, they follow outlaw country, and when I first started posting my videos on my alone trip, and Spencer just loved it and wanted to do it, and Vicky's like, he can't go unless he goes with you and stuff, and I said, you know what, just go for a night. Start with one night and do it on your own. More power to you, man. Good for you. And I love that. I love seeing younger people getting into the outdoors and nature and hunting and fishing and all that kind of stuff. I think it's just awesome. And then his brother, my other nephew, Jordan, Jordan just bought his first boat and wants to get out with his family and learn fishing and he's been on charters, but that's it, right? So I just think it's awesome for young people that were not brought up that way to adventure out and explore the outdoors. I think it's awesome. Me, I was born and raised to it, right? Very first meat that I ate was moose or elk. And because my dad hunted, my grandfather hunted, both my grandfathers hunted. And so I was born and raised into it, whereas these young guys weren't. Anyways, I love seeing that. So way to go, Spence. Way to go, Jordan. I just think it's awesome. Anyways, I'm going to jump right at it here for you. I'm going to try to hammer out 2 emails if I can. And I couldn't. It's today is departure day. I leave in about 4 hours, so it's about 5 o'clock in the morning, 10 after 5. So yeah, it's departure day. I'm out of here. Anyways, where are we here? Let's jump into this one right here. Next on the list. This is from Amy Fisher. Hello, Darren. I hope I spelled your name correctly and that I have the right email address for you. My name is Amy Fisher and I live in California. I found your YouTube channel by chance as I was watching some other channels that discuss the Bigfoot topic. A little about me, so you have an idea of who I am. I'm 51 years old, and I'm a veterinarian with my own practice in Northern California. I have traveled and lived in many different states throughout my life, but I settled in California 22 years ago. And my husband and I opened our own veterinary clinic, which we still work today. My husband and I have both always been fascinated by the topic of Bigfoot. Me, because I have seen these beings, and my husband, because he has listened to me talk about them for 26 years. LOL. Robert is also a believer because of what I've shared with him, and also because of the scientific evidence that has been made public thanks to Dr. Malva Ketchum. She and her colleagues have done an amazing job of studying the scientific aspects of the existence of Bigfoot. Let's not go back and forth with do they exist or don't they. There will forever be individuals that will argue the fact of whether or not these beings exist or are a myth that has been going on for hundreds or thousands of years. I'm not emailing you to try and prove their existence. I know for a fact that in 1994 they did exist, and I'll bet the bank that they still do. Let's go back to 1994 when I was much younger than I am now. I was going through university to be a veterinarian, and in the summer months I was a tree planter in Oregon State. I have always loved the outdoors, the wildlife, the fresh air, and the peacefulness that Mother Nature offers us. I was in my second summer season as a tree planter, and absolutely loved what I was doing. If you worked hard, you made good money. It was a great job for someone that loved exercise and the wilderness. Anyways, we were in a logging slash that had been felled the fall before, and there were 4 of us working this slash to get it replanted. We basically leave the truck in the morning with our bags full of young trees and our lunches and start working and planting. Start walking and planting. Man, my eyes are getting bad. Walking and planting. I was near the top of a slash working away when I heard a strange sound. It was like the sound of a strong wind blowing, but there was absolutely no wind at all. I had a feeling that came over me that is very difficult to explain. It was almost as if I was outside of my body, watching what I was doing and not able to control my actions, but I could see what was happening around me. I looked towards the timberline above me and saw a very dark shadow moving through the trees. When the shadow stopped moving, a being appeared in full form. It had some features of a human being, but was far from human. It was completely covered in a thick black hair, except for its cheeks, forehead, and a couple small patches on its chest. These areas had a dark brown leather type look to them. This thing was only about 40 feet from me and was staring directly at me as I stood motionless looking into its eyes. I could see its forehead wrinkles and its nose curling up as if it was smelling the air. As it stepped out of the timber and into the slash, it once again turned into a dark shadow and it came quickly in my direction. I honestly can't remember if I moved or tried to move, but as this thing came closer, I felt completely immobilized. It was directly in front of me at about 10 feet when the shadow stopped and became clear again, and it was the same being I saw in the timber. I could hear it breathing, see its eyes blinking. Its nose was twitching as if it was sniffing me every time it inhaled. This thing never took its eyes off me, and I was unable to move or make a noise. As I said, it was like I was watching this through someone else's eyes, but it was in fact me. I began to cry uncontrollably, and as I did, the being turned away from me and once again turned into a dark shadow as it made its way quickly towards the tree line. I never took my eyes off it, and when it entered the trees, there was a big gust of wind and the shadow was gone. At that very instant, it was as if I re-entered my own body and could move. I immediately headed down the hill towards the road and eventually got to the truck. I jumped inside the truck and locked all the doors and sat there until the rest of the planters returned at the end of the day. When they got back and saw me sitting in the truck with the doors locked, my one friend knocked on the window and said, "Amy, unlock the door." I unlocked the door and got out and hugged him and started crying uncontrollably. The rest of the group gathered around, put their arms around me, and asked me what was wrong. I couldn't explain at the time what I went through, but as we drove to town to the hotel, I started to tell them what took place. Nobody said a word. They just listened and I felt like nobody believed me. When we got to the hotel, everyone hugged me and said, "You'll be okay now. We're all safe." I was unable to return to work the next day, and in fact, that was my last day tree planting. I was terrified of the wilderness, and I could not understand what I had witnessed. I used to enjoy hiking and camping, and now I'm able to go to the wilderness with my husband for day trips, but I still, to this day, cannot camp out in the woods. I did my own research for years into the Bigfoot, and that's where I found the studies of Dr. Ketchum and her colleagues. There is a lot of information about these people, but much of it is opinion-based There's a lot of information about these people, but much of it is opinion and based on public sightings, etc. Dr. Ketchum's research is, in my opinion, factual and based on scientific evidence gathered over many years. After reading through the documents of the Sasquatch Genome Project, I am completely convinced that what I encountered was not a figment of my imagination. It was clearly one of these beings in some state or form. The fact that this being went from full form to simply a shadow barely visible to the human eye, that's what still baffles me to this day. Myself and my husband have devoted our lives to looking after animals, and we both agree that these beings are not an animal. What I saw at 10 feet was much more human than it was animal. Dr. Ketchum has proven through DNA testing that these beings carry human DNA as well as DNA unknown to the scientific world. I can't say what they are, Darren, because I truly don't know. I would like to know what your thoughts are on their origin and what they might actually be. What I do know for sure is they exist, and they likely have for thousands of years. As much as you and I are here and exist, they are here and they exist. I completely understand how people can be skeptical and how people find it hard to believe, but the truth is, it's been proven scientifically. There will always be those that criticize and call others liars. This we cannot change. The truth is, the Sasquatch people are here with us. I've taken enough of your time for now, so I will sign off. I've included my phone number in this email. If you ever feel like calling to discuss this further, please do so. Thank you for allowing myself and others a platform to share our experiences and not be judged or ridiculed by those who aren't willing to accept the possibility that we aren't alone on this massive planet. Be well, and thanks again for what you do. Sincerely, Amy Fisher. Well, thank you, Amy, for sending that in. Man, I'm assuming you're probably in your early 20s maybe or something, going through university and planting trees, and to have an encounter like that scare the shit out of you and keep you out of the woods overnight. I'm glad you get out there for day hikes and whatnot, but man, I can't imagine that. I mean, I've been chased out of the woods by grizzlies and almost never went back into the woods. But I knew if I didn't go back in the next morning that it would be hard to go back. So you fall off the bike, you get right back on, right? But easier said than done. So good for you for at least getting back out there. And you asked me a couple of questions there. What do I think these beings are? And their origin. I think they're a being. I think they're a people. What's their origin? Not a clue. I also believe they've been around for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. Dated back to whatever. I don't know. I don't do enough research into them, so I really don't know. But I know there's been documentation of them, and there's been carvings, and there's been pictures, whatever those pictures are in cave walls that they used to do, the natives used to do hundreds of years ago, whatever. So I think they've been around forever. Crazy. Wild, the whole shadow going shadow to an actual figure, like that's pretty insane. Okay, Amy, thanks again. I will reach out to you when I return in mid-October. I'll try to reach out to everybody that's emailed in. I have been able to keep up with it for the most part. But okay, one more, and then I got to get my ass in gear and get going. Who's this? I don't know. There's no name here. There's no name, but this one says Mt St Helens Bigfoot. Darrow, I think they meant to say Darren. Darrow, I've been watching your channel for only a month or so, and I really love what you are sharing people's experience with Bigfoot in a professional and unbiased way. You read the experience and try to understand what the person has said, and you never say if you believe the encounter or not. You simply listen, relay the information, and that's it. It's for this reason that I decided to share the story my dad told us a few years ago. Dad passed away 2 years ago, but the stories he told us while he was still in good health continue to ring true in my ears. Dad was law enforcement officer in Washington and was part of the support staff when Mt St Helens erupted in May of 1980. I was very young at the time and only remember the event vaguely. I won't go into great detail in this email about what Dad told Mom and I because it would be way too long. What I will tell you is that Dad said there were in fact large human-like people that were killed during the eruption, and that there were also a couple that survived and were recovered by the military. Dad told me and my brother that these were people of the forest, and that the military knew of them before the eruption. He said that anyone working closely on the site was debriefed before they arrived and before they left each day. He said they were all told what exactly to say to the media, family, and friends, and that they were not to deviate from what they were told. I remember as Dad was telling us about it, he started to cry and said it was awful. What we saw was horrific, and we could tell how traumatic this was for him. We tried to comfort Dad and tell him he was just doing his job, but he said no, that was not my job. I never had a choice. Dad told us that he actually saw burned bodies that were far bigger than any human. They were not human, he said. Again, I won't take too much of your time with all the little details, but I did want to share with you what Dad passed on to me. I have shared this with one research group, but they wanted to promote Dad's name, and I was afraid his honor would be questioned, so we withdrew giving them any more information. I'm sharing this with you to share with what seems to be a good... Sorry guys, this is a little bit... I'm just reading as it's written here. I'm sharing this with you to share with what seems to be a group of great people that follow, so that people know that yes, these beings are real. They are not make-believe, and that many, many good people have had their lives affected in a negative way trying to hide the truth. It's time to hide no more. Please email me back if you're interested in some more of the details of what Dad shared with us. I would be happy to share it with you. Take care, and thanks for listening. Candace Emery. I didn't know that there was anything with the Mt St Helens eruption with Bigfoot. I didn't know that. I'll have to look into that. I do remember Mt St Helens, the eruption in 1980. I remember there's a few things that I remember vividly, and that was one of them. I was at my grandfather's place, and I was quite young, and I remember it. I remember Helens erupting. Wow, that goes back a long time. 1980. Jeez. I can't really comment too much on that because I didn't know anything about that, Amy. Candace. So I appreciate you sending that in, and thanks to your father for devoting his life to protecting others. My father was a police officer as well for over 30 years, committed his life to he devoted his life to looking after people and protecting the public. And I got a huge place in my heart for anybody that puts their life on the line for strangers. So thanks to your father. Your father's right up there with my father. And who knows, maybe they're having a beer together up there talking about it. But I'm going to look into that. Very interesting. I'm sure if you know about it, I'm sure there's other people out there that know about it. So anybody that's got information on that, shoot me a comment. I want to hear I want to hear about that, and I'll look into it when I get home. I don't have time today. Maybe I'll do a little bit of research on the ferry or something, but I'll probably just look into it when I get home, because I want to learn more about that. I didn't know anything about it. So anyways, you guys, I gotta go. I've been up since 4:15, 4:20, and I don't have much time left. I gotta get rolling. So I hope everybody's safe. I hope you're doing something you love to do. I thank you so much for your support on Outlaw Country, and I can't wait to share with you some of this footage from up north. You know what? It's going to be phenomenal. I hope I can get some great video for you guys and show you the area that I absolutely love more than any place on earth. So until then, be safe, be kind, and you know what? Leave me comments. Just because I'm not here right now and I can't answer you, I'll answer you when I get back. So comments, and if anybody else wants to email in, you've got my email link in the description. outlawcountry1896@gmail.com. Okay, outlawcountry1896@gmail.com. And if you don't want to email me, and you got something to share, email Steve, you guys. Steve's doing the same thing, just getting people's voices heard. So email Steve, tell my story at howtohunt.com, or share my story at howtohunt.com. Steve will get to your emails. He's got probably hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of them, but he will get to them. So either one of us, or if there's somebody else out there that you watch or whatever, email them. Okay, I'm out of here. It's enough for today. Have a good weekend, people. Be safe. I'm out.